Hey guys, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're doing another episode of the Sword and Sorcery Book Club. Today we're talking about the little reading challenge that I want to do for this year's Conan comic book event. The comic book event is called the Scourge of the Serpent, and the reading challenge is kind of like the road to Scourge of the Serpent, so that's what we're going with. That's what I titled it last year, and I think that the title is good enough. So, few things. So, before we get started, I will be doing a conversation interview collab video with Stitch and Dogs later tonight as of recording this, and that should be the same day that I publish this. So I will be doing something with Stitch and Dogs, but I don't know if we're going to do it live or if we're going to do it recorded and then he'll put it out sometime later. I'm not really sure. We haven't really figured that out. The other thing is that tomorrow night, Friday, for me, I will be doing a conversation with Jeff Shanks, like I said last time. And I did put a post up where you guys could submit questions. Only one person did, so I'll mention it again here. If you want to ask Jeff Shanks a question, feel free to drop a comment down below. And if we have time for it during the conversation, I will try to weave them in. I will at least weave 2 or 3 in at some point, but it depends on how many we get. So we have one from Otto. He mentioned it on the post. And if you guys have some down here, feel free to put them out. If you want to do more than one question, that's fine too. Go for it. I don't know if we'll get around to too many of them, but we can keep a tally going for later on if necessary, if it's too many, right? I don't think so though. So that's it for that. Let's move on to what the actual reading event is. So last year, what we did is we read a bunch of stories that hopefully introduced the characters that were going to show up in the story. And I didn't exactly succeed, but I didn't really fail either. And so this year we're going with stories that are much more relevant to the event. I got Jeff and Jim to tell me what sort of stories I should focus in on, and based on my personal, preferences, I also added a story here and there as well. So the first thing that we want to talk about for this event is on the 6th of August, we're going to talk about the Valley of the Worm. This is a story that I really should have done last year, but I didn't get around to, and I will get around to it now. So I think you can get that from this book here. Let me double check that that's the case. Yeah, you can get it, or you can read it through the Swords of the North. This is from the REH Foundation. They sent me this recently, so I'll be reading through it here, and eventually I will do a full review video of this book in a later, at a later time. So that's the first story we want to talk about here. The second story is Spirit and Fang. This is not available in any collected edition as far as I understand it, at least not that are available currently. So we're going to be reading this one through Project Gutenberg. You can just find it online. It's pretty easy to do. If I can, I'll leave a link down to it below. And I'll do the same on the day that we're going to do that video. So that's going to be August 13th. Then from there, we're going to go into kind of more, standard stories here. We're going to do The God in the Bowl on the 20th. So The God in the Bowl is a Conan story, and so you can get it or you can read it through The Coming of Conan the Cimmerian. That's the first book in the Del Rey collection. Let's see what pages it's on. But of course, you can read through all of these on Project Gutenberg if you want to. The God in the Bowl is on page 39 of the Coming of Cimmerian, of the Conan the Cimmerian. Then we're going to do the Shadow Kingdom. That's a Cole story, so you can read it through Cole, Exile of Atlantis, and that would be page 11. It's the second story that we see here. And then we're going to be looking at Haunter on the 3rd of September. And that's going to be collected in the Horror Stories of Robert E. Howard, which is this book right here. It's in the back section, the back half of the book. Let me see if I can give you the exact location here. It's on page 410. So you can read it in the back half of this book. And then we're going to do 2 different Steve Costigan stories. So we're going to do Fist and Fang and the Bulldog Breed. Those are currently not available through any of the books that I know, so we're going to look for those on Project Gutenberg if possible, and if not, maybe I'll bite the bullet and I'll try to buy some of the older editions of the Fist of Iron story collection, right? So those will eventually be available, but they're just not currently available now. And that will be on the 10th of September And then to finish off this reading challenge, we're going to do the Serpent Ring, which is the Solomon Kane story that just finished releasing last month. That's going to be a comic book story, and we're going to talk about it in a full detailed review at a later time, right? So beyond that, if I have time, I do want to talk about the Phoenix on the Sword for the introduction of Thought Amon, who is a character that's pretty relevant to the story going forward, right? He is he wears the Ring of Set, and he is kind of Conan's main adversary, right? So I do want to talk about that at some point, but it depends on whether I'll have time to do so or not. So that's really all there is. This is kind of the plan here. I'll link it down below in the description. I'll properly set it out so you guys can follow along, and I will do a post separately as well so that you guys can read through that, and we'll see if maybe there's some videos where I can do a conversation instead of just me talking about the book by myself, right? So we'll see how that goes. But those are the stories that we're going to be looking at here on the road to Scourge of the Serpent, and hopefully you guys join in and ride along, right? So this does bump up to Cimmerian September, so that's kind of good because some of you might actually just be willing to wait for the event and then read all of the stories then, and that'll be cool. But it's really up to you guys how you want to do it. I will just be doing one a week for the next 2 months. So yeah, that's the event starting thing. Like I said, if you have questions for Jeff Shanks, please leave them down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys join me on this reading challenge, and I'll see you guys in the next video.